Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 show to bring you all things Club America in English. Your hosts for today, Ivan Pineda, Christian Rosendo, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Let's start the show.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Eagle Eye Podcast. Today we have quite the packed episode. We're going to be talking Lady Aguilas as they start off their season this Friday, and then we're also going to be recapping that game against Necaxa that ended up in a 1-1 draw, and then we're going to give you guys all the info leading up to the game against Santos this Thursday. So plenty to talk about. But before I go any further, as always, let me introduce today's co-host, none other than New York's favorite resident, Christian Rosendo, everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez, and Christian's backdoor neighbor, AJ. How are we doing, gentlemen?
I am doing good. Great today.
Yes, I'm doing good.
Damn, synchronized intro there.
Hey.
Synchronized intro there. It's just a New York thing, you know.
I guess it is definitely a New York thing. Well, glad that you guys are here. Glad that we're going to be able to talk all things Las Aguilas del America. Quite the warm day here, and I know it's been quite the warm day over there for you as well, Dylan. How you doing with the heat?
Oh, man, just trying to chug along in the day and just drink plenty of water just to deal with it.
There you guys have it. Cowboy Dance tip of the day. Make sure you stay as hydrated as possible. Well, yeah, you guys ready to get started with today's show? We have quite the episode ahead. Before we talk Lady Aguila news and before we jump into that segment, AJ, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened against that America Necaxa game. It was a game that we were coming into very optimistic because, of course, America was coming on a 2-game winning streak. Although I did warn and I did put that hesitation out there that maybe we shouldn't be walking into this game as confident as we were. Christian, do you think that America let themselves down? Do you think that Necaxa played the right game against us? What went wrong for America in this game?
Well, the previous podcast, I said that the key to win this game is just to play our game, keep it simple, and we did do that. For 5 minutes when we scored, and then after that, we just completely disintegrated into the match. But gotta give her credit where credit's due. Necaxa, I think, played this game to the way they wanted. They got their goal to tie it up, and then after that, I think they were pretty okay with the tie. And even then, so I think Necaxa had a couple of chances to actually win the match. Now, this is America's fault for, I guess, being too conservative after the goal, not taking enough chances. I guess waiting on Necaxa's error, which unfortunately throughout the whole match, I think they maybe committed to, and it just wasn't in the right mindset, and I think that's very poor of America. This is a game that we should have walked away with all 3 points, and just like you said, just very disappointing performance from the team.
Yeah, definitely very disappointing. AJ, America went down to Aguascalientes to get only a point. Do you see it as a point gained or 2 points dropped?
2 points dropped for me. I feel like America should have had this game in the bag. As I mentioned last time on the podcast, I was really confident for this America team to go to Aguascalientes and get the 3 points. But as Christian mentioned, playing our game as simple for 5 minutes, and then it just all went crumbling down. I felt like America had some chances, but I guess the offense was just falling asleep during that entire match because during halftime they put out the stats where America had only 3 shots compared to Necaxa's 9. So it already gave me red flags saying is America falling asleep? Or what, are we just not feeling it this game? So I feel like it was definitely 2 points dropped because, in my opinion, it was one of the more disappointing games for America this season. Now we're just only 3 games in, but if this is an example to see how America could perform against some of the more weaker teams in the Liga, or just for any team, in fact, it could be a problem for the upcoming future this season.
No, yeah, I completely agree. Now, Dylan, we're no stranger to America falling asleep at the wheel, and time again we've said that, America struggles to find this consistency in running forms. Do you think that maybe we're a little bit overreacting to this game? Was this bound to happen? Was America bound to get a little bit of a hiccup at the beginning of the season, Or do you think maybe we should start pressing the panic button a little bit and start, asking more questions of not just the player but the coach as well?
Look, you just want to see your team, perform week in and week out, which is what we saw last week whenever we got that big win against Cholos. And you thought, you could go out and go do the same thing. But like you said, we talked about consistency, and we haven't really always necessarily seen it from week in to week out. But I don't think you necessarily push the panic button yet. I know a lot of people were doing that in preseason too, whenever America got knocked out of the Copa por Mexico tournament. Calling for Piojo's head, but I think it's just a little too soon. But it's kind of is a disappointing draw. Like AJ said, it's 2 points dropped. I feel like it was a game that you look at the first 5 minutes whenever Viña scores. Within that, it's a game that America should have took by the reins and really took control of that game for the whole 90 minutes. But they just didn't, and they just felt like they just kind of fell off the wagon a little bit.
No, yeah, it definitely does feel like America has fallen a little bit off the wagon. But again, how objective are we being in this moment, or how really, true to what we're doing? Because look, we'll look at the highlights right now as Dylan has put them up on the screen for us. I mean, the first goal Viña scores, and before that, I think America could have had a goal conceded, and then you come in and you respond pretty well. I think America gets a little bit just nonchalant about the game after Viña scores. I think they feel like a little bit overconfident, and then they think we have this game in the bag. There's no reason for us to kind of overwork ourselves, and they go out about it the way that they think. And I don't think that they expected the Necaxa reaction that they got. And then you knew that it was coming. You knew that this was going to come eventually. And of course, Necaxa scores. And then America is kind of, in an uphill battle trying to think, okay, how can we get over it? And I think America closed out the second half better than, what we kind of expected. I don't know, Christian, did you see the game differently or do you agree to what I'm saying?
No, definitely, I agree with everything you're saying, and also I think the substitutes were a little bit awkward in my opinion as well. For once, I thought also Gonzalo was having a pretty good game. I don't think there was a reason to bring on Cáceres at that point. I understand the Henry Martin substitution only because we needed a goal at that moment, and it just made sense. But the thing that I didn't like was when Henry came in, we kind of went back to like that no cam. No, Cordova got pushed to the wing, and then Henry and Viñas up top, and that kind of just limited our opportunities once again. And I understand that the strategy was to kind of just cross it in, and hopefully Viñas or Henry can get to it. But as we saw, there wasn't really many opportunities for that. So it was a little bit strange. But then at the end when Leo Suarez comes in, you kind of go back to that kind of Cordova. You guys pushed back to the middle, and you have one good chance, and it comes off of Leo Suarez's side, which is he was put on the left side, which is something that I kind of want to see more, and I hope we get to see that in the next game, because I thought that in like the 5 minutes that he was there, he looked pretty good to me, and it's something that I think Ivan, me and you have talked about in the past, how we think that Leo Suarez might flourish more on the left than on the right, and this upcoming game should be a good test if he is put on the left.
Yeah, no, it definitely will be a good test. And then rumor has it that he might start in that position this upcoming Thursday against Santos Laguna. But we will get to that a little bit later on in the show. But going back to this Necaxa game and kind of really wrapping things up, I don't really want to take too much time on this. I think we've already spent enough time kind of recapping everything. I think America just had a bit of a hiccup. I don't think that it's time to press that panic button, just like Dylan was saying. I think you're in a moment in which I think America is still trying to go through that transitional phase, and where you're trying to get off that preseason mode and you're trying to get yourself back kind of into that rhythm that you had before this whole kind of COVID what's the word I'm looking for?
Broke out.
Yeah, there you go. We'll use that one.
Nice.
That's not the word I was looking for, but we'll go with that one.
If you were gonna say erupted, I don't think that was the right word.
No, it wasn't that one either. But you know what? We'll get our thesauruses out for the next episode. I do apologize for that, but I don't know, gentlemen. And anything else to add up in this game? I think it's just kind of we'll chuck it up to kind of a one-off game, especially on the road away. Aguascalientes has never really been a favorable place for us. I think that at the end of the day, America walks away with a point. We might see it as 2 points drop later down the road, because we do know how tough of a closing to the season we do have. But as of right now, I do see it as a good point, that we can take away from this game. and America can definitely start and build upon that. I don't know if you guys think maybe I'm right or wrong, but I mean, that's really what I see about it.
I definitely agree with you. I'd take
Yeah.
that. It's a point along the way. It's better. In some instances, a draw is better than a loss. Yeah, I know we could have gotten the 3 points, but a point's a point. Can't go wrong with that. Perhaps that point can help us out at some point, maybe in the future, if for some reason doesn't happen to make the league, but we have that 1 point that's enough for us to secure a spot into it. So hey, see what happens.
Definitely. Well, so far America continues to be unbeaten. Something that
That's
I
good.
questioned and asked
You
every
jinxed
single
it.
one of these, and everyone said that they couldn't see this America side going undefeated. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Like Dylan just said, I might have just jinxed it, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But America ends up getting that point away from Aguascalientes, and now America is going to look into the future and hopefully try to get all 3 points, because things are starting to look very tight on at the top of the table with just 3 games played so far. So America knows that they need to continue to get all 3 points if they want to close out the season a little bit more comfortable. And we'll have to wait and see exactly whether or not America is able to do so. So let's move on into our next segment, and it's pretty a big segment for us because Liga MX is back, and yes, I'm not talking about the men's. I'm talking about the women's. Liga MX Femenil is finally going to be back on our screens this Friday, at least for Americanistas, as America Femenil come back to your guys' screens. We previewed a little bit of what their season was going to be looking like ahead. Now we're going to be previewing this upcoming match against Cruz Azul. So AJ, this is your specialty. Talk to us a little bit more about America Femenil's debut in this Guardianes 2020 season coming up.
Woo! All right. So before we actually get to that, I would love to talk about season objectives first, since it's going to be our very first game of the season, and we're ready to start it off with the Clásico Joven. So some season objectives I got in mind for America Femenil this is I want them to win it all. By that, we're going for our second title in the Liga MX Femenil. I would love for them to tie up with Tigres and to give them a run for the money to say, like, we're going to start becoming the bigger team in this league. We've got one, but I want them to win that second one just to prove that we are an amazing team. I would love for them to go undefeated as well. Yes, I know that's something that it seems hard at first, but I feel like with America in previous seasons, we've gone with seasons where we happen to win a lot of our games, where we do get maybe one draw and one loss. But seeing we've done that twice, or where we ended up finishing seasons with just one draw and one loss, I feel like it's totally possible with the squad that America Femenil has assembled this season that we can go undefeated. And some predictions that I got for this season as well. I got my top goal scorer this season for the Femenil. I got it with Marlene Campa with 12 goals. Last season, she played 7 games and happened to score 5 goals in the span of around at least like 500 minutes played. So approximately like every 70 minutes, she happens to score a goal. So I see with this season, she could probably hit double figures. I got for top assist this team our winger Montserrat Hernandez, which she does an excellent job with and providing assists to her teammates, which can lead up to goals. And for top saves, despite her not only playing 2 games for America Femenil, I want to say for the top saves for this year, I want to go with Renata Maciarelli. And then for the MVP this season for America Femenil, I got the one and only Jennifer Munoz.
Okay, so you got quite the studded, the star-studded roster right there, going for each individual category. Now, I do question though if America Femenil I don't question whether or not they have the squad to go on an undefeated run. But Dylan, do they have the manager to go for this kind of dream run that AJ is kind of predicting?
Yeah, it's been kind of a weird time too with everything. I know with especially whenever you look at Lucero Cuevas, with her outfall, you put that on Cuellar, and then I'm pretty sure you look at some of the other players too. His past history whenever he started the feminine national team too. I feel like it's kind of up in the air with him, but I've seen some things too, like whenever I think I seen one time Jen put a video of him, and I think Jen likes him as a manager, as a person. So I just feel like this guy can still kind of get the job done with America, but I just feel at the same time, it's kind of not necessarily a do or die season, but I feel like the pressure is getting added on for him to bring back home that second title.
No, yeah, definitely, Christian. Now, we know that America's expectation every season is to win a title, regardless whether or not that you're brand new to a new league or anything. Now, aside from the managerial kind of worries, this unit does seem very cohesive. It seems that every position has at least one big name that can carry the team when needed. Do you think that this America Femenil side finally has a squad that many have dreamt of for the past couple of seasons?
Oh, 100%. And not only that, but we also have, the depth to go along with it. I think that's been a problem in the past couple seasons where, you see a player go down and we kind of don't really have that powerhouse, substitute to kind of come in and replace and fill in the big shoes. I think this year we had a good balanced squad across all levels that can definitely win the chip this year.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the big kind of main objective. And I think you can agree to that, AJ, is now we finally have a squad in which, like I mentioned, every position has at least, one big name that could carry them forward. And then you look at the bench and you have people to come off and really make an impact when you need them to. And I do wonder, though, what are your thoughts in regards to the manager in Cuellar and whether or not you think that he's finally built a team in which he feels that he's going to get the best out of them because there won't be any, kind of outfall?
So with Cuellar, understand like there are some players that do happen to have some problems with them, whether it's not them getting the start for the team for the games or whether they're not getting enough playing time. But I feel like most of the players, I feel they developed like a really good relationship with their manager, with Leo Cuellar, because he did used to manage the U teams and for the first team for the Mexican women's national team. So players that are on this team, they already know what Cuellar expects of them and what he wants. So I feel like this, despite him perhaps making like some substitutions or changes to the starting 11, which can have America Femenil fans like scratching their heads and wondering like, what is he doing? Maybe perhaps he does have a plan. Maybe this is a way for him to throw to distract the other team from like thinking like this is not their actual squad. What are they actually trying to pull off and perhaps distract them? But I feel like with the squad that we have assembled, Cuellar could definitely lead this team to the second title. We've done it in 2018 where we managed to defeat Tigres at their home stadium to take it all and win our very first title. So I'm very confident in Cuellar's ability to lead this team to their second title.
Okay, definitely. Definitely. Alrighty, then we'll get into that America Cruz Azul game right now, but I just have one question in regards to Cuellar, and then we'll get started with that preview. Dylan, you mentioned it a little bit earlier. It seems to be like a make or break season for Cuellar at this point because, he's going to be definitely in even a hotter seat. And I think the title is a must when you see what America has spent in regards to the transfer window and in regards to what kind of squad they've built and some of the players that they've brought in. At the end of the season, if America is not lifting the title, do you think Cuellar goes?
No, I think he gets the Clausura.
You give him to the Clausura? Okay.
Yeah.
Christian?
Same. Clausura.
AJ?
Clausura.
Okay, so we're giving him at least the rest of the football year if, God forbid anything happened, like another pandemic breakout. So we're giving him another year, but we require a title. I think it's fair to say at this point is we require a title, and if there isn't one at the end of the season, at the end of the football calendar, at the end of the year when we're sitting here 2021 and there's no title in that America Femenil cabinet, is it time to start looking elsewhere?
Yeah, I think so. I really
Okay.
do. Yeah, because it's been what, like 2 years, and then you get the Clausura, you don't bring it home. It's been over 2 years. I mean, you like you always say. I mean, you look at the institution, what it's demanding whenever you put on that jersey and you wear that badge. But I mean, God, it's just kind of a stretch for me, and I think you want that second title whenever you see teams like Monterrey and Tigres competing season in, season out.
Yeah, so I mean that's exactly gonna be kind of where Cuellar is gonna be sitting at. But all right, let's talk America Femenil versus Cruz Azul. A Clásico hoping to kick things off. I mean, what better way to start off the season and really test whether or not that you're capable of doing what, we're setting America Femenil to do. So AJ, talk to me a little bit about this game and some of the rich history behind it between America and Cruz Azul.
So we've played each other 9 times already. And in those 9 times, America have always come out on top. We have secured 8 wins and we've only drawn once. against Cruz Azul Femení, and with those wins, we had 4 away wins at their stadium. We had 4 home wins at our stadium, and then we only had 1 home draw against them. And an interesting fact in the Clásico Joven, the all-time leading goal scorer against Cruz Azul Femení is the one and only Lucero Cuevas right here. She scored 9 goals against Cruz Azul Femení, and what better yet, she wore the number in which that's the amount of scores that she's scored against Cruz Azul Femení. So it's going to be their 10th time where they're facing it against each other, and this is going to be a away match. So to even it out, they have played 5 home games and 5 away games. I feel like we could definitely start this out with a win, because as last season, we did manage to go away once again, where we beat them 2-1 thanks to goals from Marlene Campa and Estefania Fuentes. So I feel like this will not really be much different, especially with the squad that America Femení has. I feel like we could easily get our first 3 points of the season against them.
Alrighty then. Well, talk to me a little bit about your predicted lineup, and then we'll talk a little bit about how we think the America should play, and then we'll talk score predictions, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sounds wonderful. So I got for my lineup prediction for the match against Cruz Azul Femení, I'm going with a 4-4-2 formation, which is the formation usually that America Femení usually plays in. So I got Renata Maciarelli as our goalkeeper. At left back, we have Jimena Rios. Our 2 center backs will be Justin Orejel making her debut, Ana Lozada, and in our right back, we have Captain Monica Rodriguez. In our midfield, we have our left midfielder, Montserrat Hernandez. For our 2 midfielders, we're going to have Jennifer Munoz and Cassandra Cuevas. On the right midfielder, we're going to have Diana Cáceres. And up front, we're going to have our 2 forwards, Marlene Campa and Daniela Espinosa.
Alrighty. That seems like a pretty solid starting 11 if you ask me, Dylan. But I do want to ask one question, because it's been kind of a little bit of a debate out there. Now, I'm only saying this because I know we're goalkeepers in this sense. But how do you feel about Renata taking the starting role over JD? And JD being someone that we've consistently said that has done a pretty good job of having to fill big shoes whenever Santiago left the club and went over to Europe. What are your thoughts now that JD might be in risk of losing that starting position?
I just think it's interesting, too, because I think you go back a couple of seasons, Ivan, and, we kind of saw this rotation of goalkeepers only to find out that JD was kind of dealing with some injuries here and there that kept her out of the starting 11. And so I kind of, in the back of my mind, I'm kind of wondering if this is going to be something that's going to be like that, if she's dealing with some injuries right now. But also, I think this is going to be a good time, to test her abilities to where she can come up and, actually show to Cuellar that she should be the starting goalkeeper week in and week out. We've seen what she can do. She makes great and amazing saves. Obviously, she's led the U17 to the finals of the World Cup, though they lost that. But her leadership and her being back there, especially whenever she was out there with Jimena Rios too. I just think this is going to be an interesting storyline to follow throughout the season between her and Renata.
Yeah, I mean, internal competition, right? That's exactly what every coach is looking for, and especially a goalkeeper coach will tell you this much. When you put 2 really good goalkeepers against each other, you're going to see the best out of both of them, and hopefully that's going to be the same thing that we get delivered out on the pitch, and really whoever makes one mistake could definitely see themselves, coming out and seeing the other one be their replacement in the starting 11. So I just... kind of a quick little side note I just wanted to say, because I do know that we have followed JD's career a little bit closer than others, but we'll have to wait and see who Cuellar ends up picking at the end of the day. So let's talk a little bit about this game, gentlemen. We heard about that potential starting 11 from AJ. Christian, how do you see this America side coming out? And talking about a little bit that talking a little bit about that internal competition. Are we gonna see these starters feel the pressure from the get-go and perform to the utmost ability, because they know that they have someone right behind them breathing and hoping for their starting 11 spot?
I feel like this team will come out guns blazing. I think, as AJ mentioned earlier, America kind of has that edge over Cruz Azul, almost, never losing to them, right? So, they're definitely going to come out firing. Definitely want to get a good start to the season. Obviously, that's always important, especially for a team like this, kind of newish in a sense, they're trying to get to know each other, but like a powerhouse still. So definitely expect America to come out full force, and, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of goals in this game.
Alrighty. Well, AJ, how do you see, Cuellar, tactically speaking, going out there and trying to go for all 3 points?
I guess let's start off with this game. Like we do have, usually have a different player. We have different players coming into the starting 11. So I guess like we start things off. We're putting these new players to the test into the new lineup, just saying, all right, see how this is gonna go out. 4-4-2, a standard formation that you usually would see in soccer. I feel like a basic line that could cover defensively and offensively. Just get the ball going, have everyone have a touch on the ball, see what can happen. Whenever the opportunity shows, we go that through ball or we go with the cross and let our forwards do the rest. Or who knows, maybe our midfielders can get something, can get themselves a goal, or even our defenders. So I feel like with this line that we got here, I feel we'll have maybe, I'm being really confident we'll have little to no issues going into this game, especially with this lineup. Honestly, I feel like maybe Cruz Family probably cannot compete against it, or they're just going to have to, perhaps park the bus or just play completely defensively on this end if they're going to try to stop this America Feminine starting 11.
Alrighty, interesting. Alrighty then, gentlemen, 2 questions to wrap things up here. One, who is going to be the player to watch for this game, or at least who do you think the player that is going to be the standout star for this game? And what is your predicted scoreline for Friday's game against Cruz Azul? I'll throw it to you first, Christian.
Okay, so my player to watch this game is going to be Martin Campa. I think she needs to get off to a good start, gets bag in a couple of goals, kind of get the confidence going, and try to prove to herself that she is going to be the top goal scorer in this league. Now, in terms of prediction, I think I'm going to go with 3-0 America.
3-0 America. All right, very adventurous. I like it. I like it very much. AJ, what is your prediction?
I'm going with the scoreline of 4-0. I'm going to go 4-0. America's going to just score 4 goals against them. I got my player to watch for the Clásico home. I got Marlene Campa. I said it since day one, since he first arrived this team. I even tweeted her saying, if you score a hat trick at any point during the season, I will cop your jersey in a heartbeat. I got her scoring a hat trick in her first game. And for the other goal scorer, I got Daniela Espinosa bagging in 1 goal. So to lead just 4-0.
Alrighty then. Well, AJ being very adventurous as always with his predictions here. And Dylan, what is your prediction?
I'll go with the 2-0 win for America. I can't necessarily nail it down to one player, but I do like the 2 up top when it comes to Espinosa and Campa. I mean, I just think this is going to be an interesting time for these two because I feel like you mark one, you're going to leave one open. So I just kind of see these two kind of going off in a sense, and I wouldn't be surprised if these two are kind of competing for the Golden Boot at the end of the Apertura.
All right, that would be something. Definitely something to have, right? I mean, internal competition in that sense, in which both of your starting strikers are looking for that golden boot. I mean, this is what dreams are made out of. But alrighty, then I'm gonna go prediction-wise. I'm also gonna go with a very comfortable 3-1 victory. I think America is gonna have themselves quite the game out there. And my player, I mean, it's gotta have to be the player that everyone's just been talking about. She's the cover of this team for a reason, and I think that she has to step up to the plate now. We have seen her do it before, but I think now it's the time for Jennifer Munoz to really take into consideration everything that she's kind of gotten this team built around her in a sense. She feels more comfortable, she feels more at home, and I think if she can start finding little passes here and there and try to break through the lines of Cruz Azul, I think that's where we're going to see those score lines in which you get a 3-4, 4-1 or 3-1 something situation. But I think Jennifer Munoz has to be at the heart of everything that America Femenil is going to be doing. And hopefully she's up to the task. She looks ready and she says that she's willing to. So, it all has to start with day one.
Speaking with Jennifer Munoz, if I have a player to look forward to this season throughout the entire thing, including the Liguilla, if America Femenil do happen to make it, which I'm pretty sure we will, I got Jennifer Munoz actually as my player to watch this entire season. Since she first arrived in 2019, she's already been getting comparisons to an America player that played for the men's team, and Guido Rodriguez, how they say he's an all-around player, and I feel this is the same with Jennifer Munoz. She can play defensively, she can play offensively. She could score goals. She can dribble the ball all the way up to midfield and make up a play for any of her teammates if she wants to. So I feel like with her, I feel this could probably be the season where I feel like she's already broken out to become like a star, and if not one of the faces of the Liga MX Femenil. But I feel like for this season, she's gonna have probably her best season in an America jersey.
Alrighty, well, only time will tell whether or not Jennifer Munoz can step up to the plate in that regards. But a lot of people, and I will put myself on that boat, expect her to be. I know it's a little bit of an unorthodox comparison, but a lot of us expect her to be the Cuauhtémoc Blanco of America Femenil in a sense. big hot take. I know it's a lot of responsibility, but I think that her talent merits for her to be in kind of that spotlight, and now she has to take it upon herself to deliver. In kind of these big situations. So we'll have to wait and see. But America versus Cruz Azul, the Clásico Joven, that's how America is going to kickstart their season. And we're going to get you guys as much coverage on that game as possible. It is going to be a Friday game. And, we'll keep you guys up to date exactly what time and all that is on the day of, and whether or not you guys are going to be able to stream it. If we can find your stream, we'll do our best. But again, no promises. These games are so hard. I think it's a lot easier to try to find a Saudi Arabia first division game online than it is to try to find a link for the Club America Femenil game. And then I'm saying that truly. That is a lot. It's the truth at that point.
It's definitely a situation that needs to be changed in the near future, especially with how much traction women's soccer is gaining. There needs to be a plan in the near future to kind of televise all these games.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
please,
definitely.
if you do support America and you do love the women's team as well, go get yourself an America jersey. They're essentially the same that are worn by the men and women's. Get yourself a players from the America Femenil, put her name and number on the back of that jersey. Please watch and support the Liga MX Femenil. Please do watch the games. You will not be disappointed at the quality of the matches. Really fun to watch.
Definitely. Alrighty, gentlemen. Well, one thing we do have to be disappointed about, and Christian, you're going to be updating us all in regards to that, is a player has come back positive testing for COVID-19, where that's pretty much the biggest news that's been circulating around Coapa right now. And Christian, give us all the latest details as to who and what happened.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the league kind of tests every single team. And this round of tests, everyone came out negative, including staff, players, everyone included except for one player, and that player is Jorge Sanchez. Definitely a vital part of our starting 11. Unfortunately, he won't be available for the match against Santos and Querétaro, and probably for the matches after that. He is in quarantine right now. He is asymptomatic, so that's a good sign. Not showing any symptoms. He is in quarantine right now, so they're gonna keep him there until and monitor him for 2 weeks, and hopefully he can be back in training as soon as possible. Now, obviously, this raises an interesting question of who's gonna fill in his spot. The obvious answer would probably be Paul Aguilar, and as we get into the preview of the Santos game, I'll give you my full lineup on that. But that's pretty much the latest news for America.
Alrighty, and also a little bit of an update on Sergio Diaz. He is in training, if I'm not mistaken, right, Christian?
Correct, but it's still not available for this match. And if everything goes well, he might be on the bench against Querétaro, but don't quote me. Most likely not. I don't think this is something you need to rush right now. He's still getting adapted to the whole situation, the team, the environment, everything that comes with playing in Mexico City. So give him some time. We'll see him soon enough. Also, another, I guess, update while we're doing updates. Benedetti is also almost ready to join inner squads, which is something great to hear, especially myself, because I am a big advocate of the player. But it's also nice to see a player of his caliber kind of gaining, trying to get back into the rhythm of things. In my opinion, I think he's going to be a very important player when he does come back. But little by little, though, trying to rush him into things, take it with all precautions, because this is a serious injury coming back from. So hopefully we get to see him back on the pitch in probably in a month's time.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because we had him kind of jotted down for late September is when we expected this guy to be coming back, but he's he's speeding up his recovery. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, because we know how fragile he is. But like you mentioned, when you have someone with the talent and the caliber that he brings to the pitch, I think it's hard not to get excited about him potentially returning again. And that spells a little bit of some trouble for Cordoba, who I think had a very quiet game against the Caxa, and needs to step it up in this next game if he wants to cement himself as that starting 11 in that cam position.
Which honestly, I think can only bring good, because it's going to bring out the best of both players. And honestly, you could put Cordova or Benedetti there. I think we'd be fine. But like you said, though, internal competition is always a good thing, especially in that creative spot, which we have been lacking.
Definitely. One last thing before we jump into this Santos preview game, Dylan. This just came up to my head yesterday, and I wanted to save it for the podcast. Is Sebastián Córdoba the player that everyone thinks that he is? Is it fair for me to say that Mason Greenwood is what we want Córdoba to be I know their age gap is a little bit different, but
Christian with the look immediately, he's like, huh.
But I wanted to ask Dylan, but now that you have that face reaction, tell me more about, your thoughts in regards to what I just said.
I mean,
Because it was just a thought when I was watching the United game, and I saw Greenwood. He was very active, he was very involved, and he's always asking for the ball. And
I mean,
he's very good on both feet, and he's scoring for fun at this point.
I mean, Greenwood's definitely a great talent that United have, and I think they should keep him there for a while. But honestly, you can kind of compare the two. But the thing is, though, like you just said, Greenwood right now just scoring for fun. He's like basically doing it all right now. And I guess you kind of say that in a sense for Cordova, but I mean, you still have Viñas there too. So, but definitely though, in the way of their play style and kind of creating a lot of things, they're definitely comparable in that aspect.
Dylan, where do you stand in regards to this? Because I know United are a very fond place in your heart as well.
Every podcast we come on, you amaze me, and I think next week comes, I was like, "There's no way he can top that." Yeah, here we are, topping it again. That's all I got.
What I do. It's I gotta keep you guys on your toes somehow. All right. So stay tuned for my Manchester United podcast dropping next week. But okay, put that aside. I just kind of want to give a huge shout out to everyone that's watching right now, or whoever is listening right now and is thinking to themselves, "What is Ivan thinking?" I know I've said some amazing hot takes throughout this opening the season. What I said, Piojo could be the Fergie of America. I just said Jen Munoz could be the Cuauhtémoc Blanco of America Femenina, and now I came up with this unorthodox comparison between Mason Greenwood and Sebastián Córdoba. So I'm trying to keep you guys as entertained as possible. But shout out to everyone who's watching right now and who's listening. Shout out to Chicken Little. Shout out to our very good friend Miss Cari Torres. Shout out to The Darkness Rises. It's an amazing name. To Pure Lay 0720. I hope I didn't butcher that. But to everyone and every single one of you guys watching and commenting and everything, thank you so much. And a huge shout out to all of you guys who are listening right now, wherever it is that you may listen to us. Thank you so much. Alrighty, gentlemen, let's get into this America versus Santos game. Again, another home game that is going to be kind of a road game because, of course, we're going to be playing this game in Seoul. Estadio Azteca is not ready yet. Christian, do we know when the Estadio Azteca is going to be ready by?
This will be the last match that we will play in Seoul. So the next home game that we play will be played in Estadio Azteca,
which is against Monterrey. So that's going to be an interesting one. So keep your eyes out for that. But America's going to be playing this game in Seoul. It's going to be on Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Central, 10 Eastern. So if you're excited about Premios Juventud, make sure you guys don't watch that. You guys can check that out later. Head over to TUDN because America is going to be playing. So you guys can catch those 2 hours rather watching something like America, hopefully beating Santos in that aspect. But what does America need to do to beat Santos? Well, these fine gentlemen are going to tell you exactly what it needs to happen. But first of all, Christian, America needs to start off with the best starting 11 possible that they have at their disposal. So give me your predicted starting 11, and then we'll go on from there.
Sure. So actually, I think it's already been confirmed they're starting 11. But we'll just read it out in case if people haven't seen it yet. In net will be Guillermo Ochoa. The back four will be Paul Aguilar, Bruno Valdez, Sebastián Cáceres, and Hueso Reyes. In the midfield, we'll have Santiago Cáceres and Richard Sanchez. One wing will have Roger Martinez. On the other, we'll have Leo Suarez. In the camp spot, Sebastián Córdoba. And up top, Federico Viñas.
Righty. Pretty interesting lineup. Exactly what you would have imagined that Piojo's going to put out, at least in regards to what he has at his disposal. Definitely. Interesting that Leo Suarez gets that starting 11 spot after, quite the terrible performances from, Chucho Lopez in that left-hand spot. Are we really going to see Leo Suarez on that left-hand side, or is Roger going to, slide over to the left side and then we're going to see Leo on the right side?
I really hope Leo plays on the left. I just want to see a complete game from him on that left side. We've only really seen him on the right side, and things really haven't been panning out for him. Only because he's just a true lefty, and it's pretty predictable to see what his next move is going to be, whether it be just cutting in or just stopping, turning back and making a pass. Right? I feel like on the left side he'll have a little bit more options of what he wants to do going forward. So I really hope Piojo keeps Roger on the right, even though he had a bad game last game, but I think he'll come back from it. And just keep Leo Suarez on the right, on the left, and hopefully make his magic with Cordova in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Christian, just kind of my curiosity. What you think? Do you think? I know how you said you want to keep Roger on the right and Suarez on the left, but do you think Piojo could just switch them up in between the?
Definitely. Yeah, and it's definitely not something uncommon that we've seen from Piojo, and especially in the Copa preseason matches that we've seen, there was a lot of times where he just kind of changed the wingers. You play now, you go on the left and you go on the right. So it's definitely a possibility if things aren't going our way early on. That's something he tends to do a lot. If by the 20-minute mark, we're not really creating or going forward or advancing, it's definitely possible that you can see them switch.
Definitely. It's definitely going to be interesting the way to see how Piojo manages this game, because against a very tough opposition like Santos, you would imagine that you're going to have to be as versatile as possible whenever you're going on the attack. Now, AJ, we see that Jorge Sanchez is out because of, the coronavirus thing, and then you slot in back the natural captain, which is Paul Aguilar. How do you feel about having Paul back in that starting 11? And how do you feel in general about this, kind of change to the lineup, and whether or not that's going to affect a little bit of the chemistry that already was being cemented in that back line?
I felt this change with from Jorge Sanchez, and then we're getting now Paul Aguilar. Yeah. Hello. Am I here?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. No, yeah, you're good. I was hearing you now. Okay. Keep going.
Yeah, but Paul Aguilar coming into this lineup again, I feel like there will be little to no chemistry problems, because everyone trains with each other at Coapa, and with Paul Aguilar playing in his natural position, everyone knows how he is. So I feel like with him just taking Jorge Sanchez's spot shouldn't really see much of an issue. Yeah, despite that Paul Aguilar's declining in his overall performance due to his age, but I feel like he's still got a bit in him left where he can give his 110% in any game that he is put in. Yeah, we do have some performances in which he may not be existing during the game. Maybe he's just letting defenders pass by him, but for most of the time, he's just able to keep the winger in their place or the forwards in their place. So I feel like we'll be fine. But coming into this game against Santos Laguna, I feel like America's got to replicate our performance that they did for the first two games of the season. Then the Necaxa performance, we definitely do not want a repeat of that, because Santos Laguna is a scary team. So I feel like America should definitely think of this as a completely different game in which you want to replicate the first two games of the season and bring it over into this match. Yes. Hello.
No, yeah, definitely. It's going to be a different test for America, and we had a very good matchup against Tijuana, in which a sense, we had an opponent that we thought was definitely of a highest caliber. Now, America has kind of a similar situation in which you're going up against Santos, and now go ahead. It seems that I cut you off, AJ. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, no, completely fine.
Ivan, I think you're experiencing some delays issues.
Yeah,
here.
I'm gonna say I'm constantly looking at his screen.
Okay, it does sound like I am having a little bit of technical issues here.
It's all right. I think I don't know.
Because I hear you perfectly. I don't know. Maybe it's just me with AJ. That's kind of a little bit of a late, because I hear you and Dylan perfectly at the right times. I don't know what's going on, but okay. Back to what we were talking about in regards to this whole America game. The only reason why I bring Paulo Aguilar in this situation is because it strips Bruno of his captaincy. Christian, do you think that is fair, or do you think that Bruno should continue to have that, armband?
I mean, it's definitely a tricky situation, only because I think, Bruno really hasn't been doing that bad. Being the captain is definitely a new thing to him. But, I don't think there should be any, awkwardness or anything. I think Bruno understands and respects Paul as, it's a player, as a captain, the experience level being there. So, I don't think there should be much of an issue with that.
Okay. As long as there is no issue, then I'm fine with this. Dylan, how do you think America comes out and approaches this game against Santos Laguna? Like I mentioned, our biggest test was against Tijuana, and we completely surpassed all expectations in winning that game 4-0. Now you come into it and you face off against another good opponent like Santos Laguna. How do you think America has to come out and approach this game in regards to not just tactics, but I think in the way that the players mentally are focused for this game.
Look, if you can score in the first 5 minutes and you don't keep the foot on the gas pedal, then I mean you're just doing the whole game wrong. Am I right? I mean, you got to come out like Christian said too last week. You come out, you play your game, you play simple, but it can be hard to play simple sometimes. But I feel like too, you're gonna want that Roger Martinez you got when you played Cholos. You're gonna want that Cordova too against Cholos. These players just got to step up and realize, the mistakes that were made against Necaxa, and realize that they got to fix these mistakes if they want to come out and walk out with 3 points against Santos. I feel like, this backline will probably get tested a little bit too. It'll be interesting to see how they respond and what they do whenever that test comes for them. But other than that, I don't see why you can't necessarily walk out with the win, but I feel like it's not going to come easy too.
Yeah, I don't think it definitely will come easy at all. Now, we know that Santos, as an away team, hasn't necessarily been the strongest of opponents, but we do know that they have goals in them. Christian, how do you think America is at least approaching Santos in a kind of a way that they're trying to form their game?
Well, definitely, I think you have to look at kind of their midfield and going forward. You have a lot of players that Santos, utilize to kind of get Julio Furch to get a scoring opportunity, and I think that's something that America need to have an eye out. Furch to me is like Boselli. Every time we play them, Furch seems to always score against us, right?
Yeah.
So if we can kind of cut off the lifeline of the midfield to Furch, I think we'll be fine. Either way, though, definitely Santiago Cáceres and Richard Sanchez have their work cut out for this match, and I think it's on them too to kind of bring us the victory.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I do want to highlight a little bit of what we just got a comment in on the show right now. It says Santos already lost in Seoul to Cruz Azul. Shout out to Chicken Little for giving us that little
Chicken
stat.
Little, what's up,
that
buddy?
is true. That is very true. But I think that because they have lost already, they're coming back with a little bit of a needle in their foot, in knowing that they want to come out and get a result in which they don't lose again. And so I think we're going to see a much better Santos side than we did against Cruz Azul. So I think America needs to plant themselves and know, hey, we're most likely going to get the best version of them, which means we have to give the best version of ourselves out there in order to secure all 3 points, which I think will be definitely interesting to see not only how Piojo plans this game, because I think it's a little bit interesting in, this lineup completely doesn't change only with the fact that Paul Aguilar is coming in, and then you're also, taking out also, I guess, in that sense, but I think you're, putting in Santi, who we imagine is going to, perform the same role. And then, Leo Suarez is really the only true kind of new integrated player in this starting 11. I think you already know what America is going to try to do down the wings, but I think if America can focus their gameplay down the middle, like we've been saying for quite some time now, I think this is a game in which Cordova can definitely shine, in which he can definitely be the man to kind of lead America in getting all 3 points against Santos, which won't be easy, like we mentioned, but we'll have to wait and find out. So prediction here, AJ, tell me, what is your scoreline for Thursday's game?
I got 2-0 scoreline. America's going to be scoring 2 goals against them, as I said, and I got Viñas with the brace against Santos.
Interesting. Viñas with the brace. I like it. Dylan, prediction?
I'm going to say we're going to grind out a 2-1 win.
2-1 win. Won't be easy, but I like it. Couple of goals in there. Okay. Christian?
I'm going to go 2-1 win as well.
2-1 win. Alrighty. I like it. Also grinding it out, I would imagine. It won't be an easy game. I think Santos definitely are looking to to come in and try to cement themselves a little bit higher on the table. And whether or not America can, continue to be the super leader after Thursday, it's going to be definitely in their hands. I'm going with a very, very tough 1-0 win to America. I think that America comes out and, grinds it out, and we get a late goal and see it out, and that's going to be it. I think the defense is going to have to do a very good job, but I think Bruno and Cáceres are finally gelling a little bit even more. So, the Necaxa game, they had a bit of a hiccup sometimes here and there, but I think that's only natural with new center back partners. but I think this game could be the game that actually solidifies them just even more. So, I mean, let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think in regards to the result? Do you think America's going to win? Do you guys think they're going to win by a lot, by a little? Let us know. Should be interesting to read what you guys have to say. But you guys can tune into that game, like I mentioned, live on TUDN, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. We're going to have you guys covered with everything going on in regards to that matchup. So if you, for whatever reason, want to watch Premium Swim with Dude, but you also want to check up on the game, you guys can check it all on regards to Twitter. And gentlemen, anything else you guys want to say about this game?
No, I think we covered it all.
Alrighty then.
Only a little bit
Should
slightly
definitely
worried.
be an interesting.
Only a bit worried just because.
But I think that's natural.
Yeah, but just another player in particular, like Christian. As mentioned, we already have Julio Furch, who's already scary up front. But we remember former America player Brian Lozano. He, if I'm not mistaken, there was a season. Was it last season? I can't remember. He scored, I think it was 8 goals as a midfielder. So with his performance and how he is a midfielder, like we can definitely lock down Furch. But if we also don't keep an eye on Lozano, he's sure to just bag in a goal and then just celebrate in our face just because, I think America didn't really treat him properly. So, and then look how he is in Santos. Star, in my opinion, on their team.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely going to be a matchup in which Paul Aguilar is definitely going to have his hands full. And I think Bruno Valdez is going to have to do a lot of, tracking back and recovering in those sections. But like we mentioned, it's going to be a tough game. They're going to have to grind it out. We're going to have to get some of the best performances and hope that Santos doesn't come and show up. But I mean, that's already asking a lot, So America has to go out there, plant their game, go out and try to win in their fashion and not really worry so much about the rival, but worry about whether or not they can go out there and perform in the manner that they know that they can. So should be interesting, should be fun. Like I mentioned, follow it all over on Twitter, and we'll keep you guys up to date with everything going on in that aspect. So, gentlemen, anything else before we wrap things up?
I guess I have one more thing to say left. I remember we were talking about the competition within the goalkeepers in America Femenil. There is a third goalie in Natalia Acuña who came from Querétaro. So it's been on my mind the entire time since we were talking about it. I'm just thinking, we have Maciarelli, who, in my opinion, is amazing in training. And despite with only the 2 games she's played in America Femenil, she can prove that she can be a number 1 goalie in America Femenil. With JD Gutierrez, no doubt about it. Ever since she took Cecilia Santiago's spot when she made her way to Europe, she does make some mistakes here and there when it comes to corners where she does go a bit outside the box too much from her area. Does concede a goal, but overall she's able to make the saves. And when Natalia Acuña coming in as the third choice goalkeeper, or who knows, maybe she could actually get herself into the starting 11 position. She does make incredible saves for the Querétaro side that has been struggling a lot, though in some games where her team could be conceding a lot more, she does come up with some big saves to prevent her team from conceding even more goals. So actually, it's one thing that's really interesting to see, perhaps maybe all 3 goalies can actually get equal playing time and equal game opportunities from Leo Cuellar. And perhaps make it be something different where we see him constantly rotating the goalkeepers for America Femenil and where all of them can do amazing. So that's the one thing I have to say, actually.
Interesting. I mean, I am a big advocate of having a number 1 starting goalkeeper and sticking it through until that goalkeeper has shown that they are no longer fit to be in the starting 11. I don't really like this whole let's give every goalkeeper minutes type of situation. I think you're just kind of diminishing things. But I will say this, we'll wrap up the show with one last question. And I'm glad that AJ brought it up because, it's something truly dear and near to me, this whole goalkeeper position. So I am going to ask this. Out of all the 3 goalkeepers, gentlemen, who do you guys want as a starting goalkeeper? Not who you guys think is going to be a starting goalkeeper, but who do you prefer under the 3 sticks? AJ, I'll ask you first because you're the one who brought it up. Who in your mind deserves to be the starting goalkeeper?
JD Gutierrez, no doubt about it. She should definitely be our starting goalkeeper for America Femenil, especially with the experience that she has on the team and playing games and leading us to the playoffs. I definitely think she should be our starting goalkeeper.
Alrighty, Dylan.
Yeah, same. I mean, she's got the experience. She's got it at the youth level internationally too. I don't see why she can't do it.
Alrighty, Christian.
I think we gotta stick it with Renata. I think this is a player that will come up big time for America Femenil. Just gonna have the season to prove it. So I'm expecting big things from her.
All righty, interesting. Well, I'm also going with JD. I think that she's still so young, right? I mean, so much potential there to still continue to grow. And I think you diminish a little bit of that growth if you do just kind of abruptly just kind of say, okay, we're starting off with another goalkeeper. I don't really think JD did much wrong in the previous season. So I think as things stand, I think JD deserves to be in that starting 11 spot. But it's not up to us; it's up to Cuellar, and we'll have to wait and see who gets the starting 11, who gets in that starting 11 come Friday. But alrighty then, we'll leave you guys off with that bit of a thought. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming out. Hopefully, you guys are staying safe. Hopefully, you guys are staying cool under AC. It's gonna be a very warm week out here. If you're living in Phoenix, Brian, I'm talking to you. Good luck, buddy. I don't know how you're gonna make it past 116 degrees. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, to everyone that is tuning in and to everyone that's watched, thank you so much. And to everyone listening right now, thank you so much. We'll keep you guys up to date with everything over on Twitter and Instagram. So make sure you guys follow us at Eagle Eye Podcast. And yeah, we'll see you guys come Thursday. And hopefully America ends up winning all 3 points. So make sure you wear your mask and wash your hands and everything and anything that you guys do it with love. Alrighty then. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We'll see you guys next week. Until next time, as always, take care. And as always, Arriba la America. Good night, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast and get all the latest news and coverage. And subscribe to our podcast wherever it is you may listen.